Daytona Beach Redevelopment Board to order. First item is a roll call.
So Pete Sand,
Here.
present. John Commercian,
Here.
Cheryl Cook, Javier Benavides, I think he's excused. Mark Carrot.
Here.
And Scott Lawson's going to be a little bit late. If not, he's excused. So
On his
we
way.
can proceed.
Hopefully. That'd be good.
Yes.
And your mics are all red, so you need to turn them on. Gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, if I can interrupt just a moment. I know we've been kind of taking a closer look at our rules and regs regarding the board, and the quorum requirements requires for 4 members of the redevelopment board constitutes a quorum, and that will be 4 voting members, because the next
I'm not voting.
statement would say the affirmative vote of a majority of redevelopment board members present and voting is required to approve any item. It's not absolutely clear, but it looks like it's saying that you need 4. It doesn't say 4 voting members. I'll fill that in. So it doesn't say that. It's not absolutely clear that you need 4 voting members, but it's implied that you do for a quorum.
Cheryl, you've been voting.
No kidding, and I got in trouble, so don't go there.
Okay. So you're a member, but not a voting member. Is that correct?
As the person
She's
of the
ex
planning
officio.
board would also not be a voting member.
So, it would appear to me, and we'll defer to legal, but you've got to have the votes, and you've got to have a quorum of votes. So if you don't have 4 voting members present, it doesn't constitute a quorum. And, but that's just my opinion, and you know what opinions are worth. So I think that's probably something that does need to be clarified, so that when we do have a case that comes up that is of import, we don't want to have something come back 6 months or a year later that said, well, that action wasn't legal.
Right, and we don't want to be in, contrary to sunshine laws relates to even the actions of the board in terms of under, what is it, 286 or 280, yeah, I think it's 286 for the statute. So we don't want to be in that position. So we'll get some clarity. We've been clarifying more and more lately, so we'll go ahead and make sure if we need modifications to make sure it's clear in our code, we'll do that as well.
Okay.
I don't believe there's any specific current board rules. I don't believe. So maybe we may be able to clarify them in those as well. So we'll take a look at that. But I think for today, our position probably ought to be that we don't have a quorum and operate with that understanding. And when I say operate with that understanding, can't take a formal action. But as you've done in the past without a quorum, you can still hear presentations, but you just can't take any formal acts, do any formal acts.
So what we did in the past when we had that situation, we would go ahead and discuss. We could, I don't think we even took a vote, but we might have through discussion see what the consensus was, and then in the next meeting, if there had been any action, it was ratified, I guess you'd say, in the following meeting, as long as we had a quorum. Do you know about any advertising? Because people was asking me about a case to come up, and typically, we've got a Board of Variance coming up, and there's a legal requirement on that. You've got to have 10 days notice, mail out, get your return receipt, and all that kind of stuff. I haven't seen any of that associated with any of the meetings that we've had for the few large projects that we've reviewed. Why would that be or not be?
I don't have that answer only because I'm not directly involved with the Board of Adjustment is what you're referencing?
Yeah, it's BOA.
Yeah. I was considered BOA 17 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
For
And
about
actually,
4
for
or 5
site plan,
years.
we don't have it either.
You don't
have to-
remember the rules?
We don't,
I have to research, take a look at it.
it must be that there's certain actions that require a public hearing and due notice, but I just happen to recall, and you're gonna be familiar with it too, if you do a final site plan, it goes through the process. Rezonings require it, but not final site plan review, and I think that's what's come before us, has been, we don't hear zoning cases, right? We do? We rezone cases? Well, I would think those would then be, have a public notice requirement
Oh,
on it.
we do.
Anyway, there's a lot of things to look into and check up on.
Yeah, and if we don't have a quorum in those cases, we changed it in the land development code that we can move on to the next stage, which is the planning and zoning board.
And I think the reason is because it's an advisory
Right,
review.
right.
It's not
And
the
some
final
of the
action.
other boards too, we were having a problem of getting a quorum, so we made some exceptions that if we don't have a quorum, the planning staff can move it on to the next stage.
Okay, because planning board is gonna have ultimate, now, planning board is, well, in some cases, they have the decision-making, and in some cases, they're gonna refer to commission.
They're gonna move it on too. They're gonna make a decision, but it would be a recommendation to the city commission.
Right, okay.
And
Well,
also to the chairman, you were referring to, like, we have some routine items that staff will bring up that we would like to get their consideration. And it's really for them to advise us if they agree to maybe doing a mural or something, or providing a grant, because we're gonna bring some grants to you all. You would advise us that you agree with the grant, you don't agree with the grant. That doesn't mean if you say no, it's gonna stay there. It will be just that we will get to the next stage and we'll be with the site that the advisory board agrees or don't agree with the application.
Okay.
So today, the captain has an item that he would like the board to consider giving thumbs up or whatever, but it would be, as you said, it would be just a
well, since it's not a
discussion.
formal action and we're not taking a vote, we're just looking
Yeah.
for a consensus.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so since this board is only an advisory board, then we just hear a case and then recommend to planning board and it goes on to there. So I do recall that we had some cases that you just moved them on.
Right. Only in cases in site plans and, land development stuff, but any other routine items that doesn't go to planning and zoning board.
Okay. The buck stops here.
Yeah,
So you do have some final action type determining decisions that you make.
Let's, well, we may not have an approval of the minutes, but there was some discussion on the minutes, so.
Yeah, they aren't correct. Sorry. So, Phoebe, I had sent you an email after we'd come out about them, but I never heard back, so I mentioned it today to Pete, but John was not here last month. Michelle was actually here as staff because she was sitting in your seat. There could not have been a vote of 5-0 because we only had 4 people that were here that were able to vote. So maybe they can be corrected and it can be passed when we do have a new, when we have a quorum, hopefully next month.
Was Scott here? Scott Lawson?
Scott was here,
Okay,
but that only leaves 4, Scott, Mark,
2.
Javier, and you to be able to vote. So that needed to go to 4, and John was not here.
Well, but a quorum is 4.
And Michelle was here as staff because she was on the front row with Angela
Right.
and Mr. Jackson.
Okay, so we're not gonna have a motion to approve because there's just some things that need to be addressed. Plus, we can't approve it anyway. We don't have a quorum.
but they can be corrected and brought to us next month for, okay?
I think, Mr. Chair, just for observation, and I think we're just gonna make this, we're gonna double check when we do this in the future. There are 6 board members listed right now. So if you take out John as Cheryl indicated, the person who does the minutes would perceive this as being 5 people who voted. So that, I think that's what happened. She thought it was 5 people who voted as opposed to 6.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to
But now that we
remind
know-
her that maybe when Cheryl is present, her vote, the vote should include Cheryl, is what I'm trying to say, going forward.
Abstain? Does she formally abstain? I mean, that way it's in the minutes.
No, she's non-voting. She's survived.
I can't say anything.
So you don't
except
exist.
But no vote.
I mean,
You can say plenty, but yeah.
the value of an ex officio is to be able to present specialized knowledge in an area. So she can be informative, she can add to the discussion, she just doesn't have the authority of voting.
And because of your experience and you sit on another board downtown, then you can bring your knowledge and experience from that to this board and help us out. Okay. I think you're right on the interpretation of the 5-0 vote. I would think that way too, but we won't anymore. So that being said, we're going to set the minutes aside. Everybody, look them over real close, except you, John. You weren't here. You're off the hook. Pledge, and then Phoebe, do you have? Okay, well the minutes. Scratch that and go to staff reports.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if we may have Captain Conti come up for a presentation for the Meridian barriers.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Chair, board members, thank you first for providing me the opportunity to come today and provide some updates as far as some of the steps the police department is taking to ensure public safety, not only to our citizens, but also to the visitors that come year-round. The purpose of today is for me to provide you some information on Meridian barriers. It's one of the newer systems used to mitigate vehicle threats. Unfortunately, despite whatever year it may be, the threat to the general public always remains, be it a careless driver, reckless driver, intoxicated driver, or a person with violent, malicious intent. The purpose of the Meridian barriers is I'll go through, I'll provide you some visuals, is to protect the general public on many of the different settings that we have, be it an art walk, a wine walk, many of the food festivals, the Christmas parade, anything of that nature where there's a closed street. So, if you will provide me the opportunity. So the purpose of the Meridian barrier system is to obviously mitigate any vehicle threats, be it wanted or targeted. It's used to manage pedestrian flow at festivals, markets, and open venues. And the overall objective is to support us and emergency services in securing perimeters, enabling our rapid response, and also allowing that flexible access. I'm not sure if any of you had the opportunity last year or in Biketoberfest, where we actually had some of these Meridian barriers set up. So they are large steel shields that will actually stop a vehicle from driving through a street. So some of the things that we intend to purchase is the Meridian barrier system itself, as well as some of the additional options that will allow us to open a large gate, allowing evac or fire to respond, as well as any police vehicle if necessary. So as we all know, 85,000 residents, roughly, but in all reality, we probably have much more, considering we have the universities and many people commute here on a daily basis to work. And then obviously millions of visitors that come for speed weeks and many of the motorcycle events, not to mention the small gatherings that we have year round. So Unfortunately, the reality is that attacks of a vehicle threat have happened. Most recently was in New Orleans, New Year's Eve, resulted in 15 people losing their lives and 35 people injured. And the weapon was a Ford F-150. There was also a protest in 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia, resulting in 1 person deceased and then more than 30 people injured. And that primary weapon was Dodge Charger. So as you can see, the reality is that times are uncertain, and us as a city, especially as a police department, we have that responsibility to ensure the safety of not only the visitors, but as well as the merchants and the residents here. This is a photograph from our Christmas parade. And as you can see, that would have been an ideal situation where we could have used those meridian barriers by ensuring the safety of the streets, as well as also reducing the number of staff that would have to remain at a stationary post, allowing them to actually walk either along the parade or to maintain visuals as the crowd moves along. And these are just some snapshots of the meridian barrier system being deployed. And honestly, they're used across the world. Although they are manufactured here in the United States, they ship them as far as Australia and other countries. So it's a well-documented, proven system. The overall cost for the system that we will be purchasing is $416,000, $401.37. And we are presenting this request from various redevelopment areas. Downtown would be for $30,000. And I've also provided a snapshot of each item that we're going to purchase and how many. This is the actual drop deck trailer. And it's a specialized trailer that is built to sustain the weight, because each one of these barrier systems is 600 to 700 pounds. And there will be about 8 or 9 on each one. And then as well as on the trailer, you have the ability to place some of the other options that we will purchase, as well as the pneumatic system, which allows for the lip to come down, making it a lot easier to deploy. And we're going to be purchasing 3 of those. This itself is the actual barrier. There's 36 of those that we plan on purchasing. And as you can see, each one of them weighs 680 pounds. Now, if you look at that, you think, how many people is it going to take to move? It can actually be done by a single person. We've actually done a couple of test runs, and we had a young lady assist us, and she was maybe 100, 110 pounds. And she was actually able to do it on her own using this following item. Actually, no, it'll be a little bit further on. This is the rapid gate kit. This will allow us to put 4 of the barriers to block off for pedestrian traffic flow, but also allow us the opportunity to raise it or open it should the need for evac, fire, or even a vendor, you know, for bike week or anything like that. A vendor may need to come by and resupply anything. We could actually open that up and allow them safe passage. And this is the manual hauler. Using physics at its best, you can actually raise the barrier system, and then it uses its rear wheels to maneuver it where it needs to go. We'll be purchasing 6 of those. This is the tow bar. This is we got to get it out quick, but we can't wait until we can get another one. Since we're going to have 36 of these actual barriers, and we're only going to have 6 of these, we obviously need to strategically place them at entry and exit points. So we're going to be leaving both the haulers as well as these tow bars in the strategic locations, allowing us the opportunity, should it arise, we can rapidly move it. And that'll be 2 of those. These are the arrestor cables. They're solid steel construction. And if you'll see in one of the slides coming up, and a picture is the arrestor cables will actually connect one barrier to the other. So there's a really good video that it'll be at the very end, and it'll actually show you the ability of these arrestor cables to sustain the impact of the vehicle, and then how the actual barriers react once struck. And we're going to purchase 30 of those. These are the ADA cable protectors. This allows us to be ADA compliant. Obviously, we have folks walking, subjects in wheelchairs, bicycles, whatever it may be, and this allows us to safely place the cables, connecting one to the other, but then also providing a safe passage for anyone that may be physically immobile. And this is a brief 1.5 minute video. It just goes over how it's maneuvered. The one thing that the video did not capture was the actual drop-down section where it'll pneumatically drop, allowing it to be removed significantly easier.
It's just a tailgate, pneumatic tailgate that comes out. What's the spacing between those?
The ideal placement is 4 feet.
How wide is a car?
Depends.
6 to 8?
72 inches would be a narrow car, but it honestly depends on if it's a large special utility vehicle, if it's a pickup truck, if it's a garbage truck.
Yeah.
So that's why having the hauler system provides us that little bit of latitude where we can move it and maneuver it if needed. I do have one more video, if I can.
Oh. That's them just hitting that cable wire, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll see that they have 4 of the barriers, and then they have the arrestor cables across, and that's actually the rapid gate, the one that we are going to purchase. So God forbid something horrendous were to occur. As you can see, it traveled less than 5 feet. And there's actually some really great videos online if you do have the free time and you're interested, is it actually captures, you know, large trucks, a garbage truck, pickup trucks that are larger than that. And it shows the, you know, the quick stop that the system does provide.
In that particular video, it's going through the gate, so it's catching the cables, not the device itself.
Exactly. So if you see it's designed so when it is struck in that gate area, the 4 barriers will actually circle. And then in either way, regardless of how or whatever direction they were to impact it, it still stops the vehicle. And the driver is still physically intact, they're not hurt. Although it was designed to stop vehicle threats for somebody with ill intent, there is also always the possibility of an impaired driver or a person suffering a medical episode. So regardless of whatever it may happen, it is designed to still preserve safety, even of the driver. But one of the great things about the system, it is Safety Act certified, so it does help reduce the liability for the city. But that's what I wanted to show you guys today. If you have any questions, any feedback, I'm more than willing to.
A couple questions. First of all, have there been any successful deployments of this where it's actually stopped somebody who either was drunk or had ill intent, where these devices were successful?
Yes, fortunately not in our city, but yes, there's numerous videos. They've used them for the Rose Bowl. They've used them literally across the world. Some for malicious intent, terrorist threats, but there were a handful of videos that I located yesterday. There was a person suffering a medical episode.
Okay. How do you handle the sidewalks?
Well, it depends on the placement. They shouldn't be placed on the sidewalk because we would be impeding the flow of just natural walkways. When we purchase this system, the tech that's going to come by is going to actually provide us an extensive training, and the overall objective is for him to show us exactly how it should be deployed. It's not recommended the times that we've borrowed them to place them on the sidewalk because it's unnecessary. To say that it's impossible that we won't do it would honestly depend on the scenario, depending on if there's an opening wide enough for a vehicle to traverse, then that may be something that we need to consider.
But that's what happened in New Orleans? They were on the sidewalk. They didn't go through the street. That truck in the New Orleans that killed so many people.
Yes.
But that's a wider sidewalk than most of us have around here, though, right?
Yeah, Beach Street is
Well,
on
The sidewalk's
purpose.
pretty wide.
They're wide on purpose, you know, to allow that.
There's-
I know
there's-
Port Orange has got an 8-foot bike path throughout the city, and the police department said make them 6 inches thick because they drive their cars on it. So,
so you said you've rented these already and have used them here in our city?
We actually have not rented them because that would be financially difficult.
Or borrowed them?
Yes, we've been very fortunate. We have a great working relationship with the Volusia Sheriff's Office and FDLE, and when they have them available, they have allowed us to use them. Bethune-Cookman University also purchased one set, and we were able to use their set as well. But it provides us it leaves us at a disadvantage that we're reliant on others.
Right.
So,
yeah, you might need them, and they said, well, we've got them committed. And
unfortunately.
I think it's
Yeah.
a sad commentary on the way we are in the world, but you're seeing it more and more, and I think it's a good way to be proactive.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So are you wanting a recommendation, though, from this group, or just for information only?
No, this is just for informational only and just to get you all's feedback.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, I think the conversation was it supported.
All right.
Carry on.
Okay, thank you. So I received a report from Lieutenant Gurnett, and she provided me the police report for the downtown CRA. She was unfortunately unable to attend the meeting, but the details are here. 7 days of details were filled, and this is from the special detail that was approved recently in the CRA. So traffic stops were 2, citations were 2, subject stops were 2, and bicycle violations was 1. All officers noted that all officers noted that there has been a very little activity to address during their detail. They have all checked the vehicles parked in all the parking lots or out front in the spaces. They have checked City Island Park during their detail. 2 officers addressed a few homeless individuals were congregating on the bridge with all of their belongings. Those subjects were addressed and educated on their behavior. Patrol officers continue their checks in the overnight hours and located 2 individuals sleeping in the doorway of 122 South Beach Street. Upon contact with them, they observed a note taped in the window and advised the subjects were allowed to sleep there per the business. An email was sent to the several business owners notifying them of their observations. Lieutenant then said that she has not received any complaints from business owners in the area during this period. The detail has been quickly filled each month. Please advise and also remember that February 27th until March 8th, the details may not be filled due to the Bike Week mandates. The details will be put out for officers to work, but there's a significant mandate in place. And this concludes the police report. If you have any questions for me, I will be happy to address it with the officer.
None from me. Anybody on the board?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and the other item, we were supposed to have code enforcement here, and I know, Ms. Cook, you asked a few questions. Unfortunately, they were not present to answer those questions. I will circle back around to Mr. Denzel to get those questions answered and provide you feedback via email as well as present it the next meeting. Okay?
I've had many a person concerned about the lawyer dude signs that are on all 4 sides that are, I mean, when they had the Santa hanging off of one at Christmas, and I mean, there's just no way that can be. And I couldn't tell if they're temporary until signs, but they're being all the way around is, and the color that it is. I mean, lots of people have just brought it to my attention to say, could you see what's going on with them?
Okay, and this is your meaning around his property or?
Oh, have you not
elsewhere?
seen his building?
I've seen it,
Yeah,
yes.
it's all the way.
Just wanted to clarity so I can be able to address it properly.
Are you saying, is it legal for him to have it?
Well, kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite sure it is, but we'll check with permit and license because he wouldn't be able to do it unless he got a permit to do it.
Yeah, that was a discussion that came up, and it is permitted use.
Yeah.
And we still don't have the Lotto cigar or anything on that sign, and that, all those flags every single day.
The one on Beach
No,
or the one on Magnolia? Ridgewood?
And
Ridgewood,
it's
yeah,
permitted
yeah.
use as well.
All
did
4 of
address
those,
it.
5 of those flags that are out every
The
single
sign
day.
is permitted use, and then as far as the flags, that was addressed to code. But as far as everything else that's present, it is a permitted use for the type of sign. Because I know we discussed that as far as the type of sign, and that is a permitted use.
So that sign that they put up, I thought that is just a temporary, but that is,
You're talking about the actual sign on the building. Correct. That's a permitted use.
okay.
I thought it was temporary as well, but I did some research, and that is, they're allowed to do it.
And just for clarification for code, I just left with them. They were in a pre-meet today, so they'll need to schedule to make sure they make it. If they want to be able to have this meeting, they just have to reschedule. They typically schedule their pre-meet for the upcoming code board meetings, and sometimes they go into the middle and late afternoon.
But the one on Beach Street did remove part of their signs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do want to say something else here. I went ahead and took the time to give a better look at the rules and regulations as it relates to our code concerning the code section 2.3, which is our redevelopment board codes. As I read it, I think the better reading of this language, now reading it, is that the ex officio is defined as a member. So when we look to that point that says that the quorum is 4 members of the board, well, every expression of the ex officio role is still an expression of the ex officio as a member. One member of the Downtown Development Authority shall serve as ex officio as it relates to the redevelopment board. So that's a member of the authority, but if you go through, they repeatedly identify the ex officio member as a member in every other aspect of that section of the code. So I'm backing up from my prior suggestion in terms of being extra conservative and saying I think it's well represented, at least by what's expressed, that the ex officio is a member for the sake of quorum. Again, non-voting. That's something we'll look at as well. There's some interesting language there, so we're going to take a second look at that. But as it relates to the definition of you as a member for quorum purposes, I would say the answer is yes, you are a member.
Okay.
So it doesn't make sense to me that one would be a member and one qualifies to fill a quorum, and yet it's a non-voting member unless there's specific language that says this person shall be a non-voting member. And if you don't find that, then there's an ambiguity that needs to be resolved.
You know, legal sit down and we'll go over that.
Okay.
But I thought you were going to go somewhere else. That was what I had said earlier as well, and that was related to voting. And one of the things they did clearly to separate those 2 points as related to the voting is that it says that for voting, the affirmative vote of a majority of the redevelopment board members present and voting is required to approve any item. Members present and voting.
Yeah.
So I guess we only had 3
So
members
if you're a
present
member and
and
you're here and
voting.
you vote, then you're voting.
Then
So,
it's the majority of the ones that are voting members.
yeah. I'm familiar a little bit with non-voting members, but it has to be specific language, doesn't it?
Aren't we supposed to also have
We'll come back to that.
Aren't we supposed to also have an ex officio from the planning board? As long as I've been on these boards but they just don't have anybody that wants to do?
Not how we have it written. It's the other boards have an ex officio from the planning board. This board has an ex officio from the Downtown Development Authority.
Well, I will.
I don't see an and.
I will question that because we've had a member from the planning board as long as I have been on this board for a very, very, very long time, unfortunately. Edith Shelley had been on it and then the guy from the museum had been
It's just hard
And
to
then he
fill
dropped
it.
off because he was not elected to the planning board. Because he had been a representative from the planning
planning
board.
board, okay. Okay.
Okay, then, based on
So things to
history,
figure out.
I will yield to history and take a look.
Unfortunately, I got a lot of history.
I'll yield to history, take a look and support it through the code. I'm sure it's there somewhere. I just probably hadn't come across the clarification on that.
And I'm not saying you need to resolve it today, but by the next meeting so that we know how we're operating.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, I wanted to go back to something that Cheryl brought up about the smoke shops. I was just talking to a business owner resident yesterday about the smoke shops, and they were complaining about maybe it appears that we're getting an influx of smoke shops, and they were not pleased with it. And I said to her, I said, look, these smoke shops are getting approval from our permit and license because the zoning allows that type of use to be operated on those properties. And the inference is that the city is doing this. And I'm saying the city doesn't own those properties. We don't own the property at Ridgewood and Magnolia. We don't own the property on Beach Street. So these property owners are allowing these shops to operate because they're collecting rent or whatever they're doing. And if the zoning allows that use, the way to outlaw that is to make some changes in your land development code. There was a city in Central Florida who didn't like the Dollar Trees or the Dollar Generals, and they changed their land development code to address that. But that's the way you address those issues, because we can't do it here at the city because we don't like that particular use. You have to change the code.
Who initiates those type of code amendments?
So,
Well, I mean, you would have to have staff, our planning department, to address, where in the code we would have to make those adjustments and the recommendation to the planning and zoning
so it'd be in the
board.
land development code, you do it in the list of permitted uses, and many redevelopment areas have prohibited uses in the redevelopment area.
Yep.
One of the towns that I work with, we recently redid their land development code, and we prohibited tobacco uses within their main downtown, CRA. So certainly that could be done here. Now the question is, who does that?
Yeah.
You know?
So what you have to do is, you can't, I guess you could, but I don't think it'd be proper to put specific names like Dollar General or Dollar Tree, but you can restrict the uses that those businesses provide, and that way you're controlling what's going in downtown.
So
Tobacco, alcohol has, they have a lot of restrictions on how close to a church, how close to a school, how many in a certain area, so.
But the land development code has been changed in the past. I think one thing that I think hasn't been brought up is because the smoke shops have just come out more in popularity. I mean, we were able to say in the land development code finally that we couldn't have coleslaw wrestling. I mean, come on, because that used to be at the old Woolworths, so on Beach Street. So it can be done and changed, but all of a sudden that is now a business that is thriving, unfortunately, or thinking they can. I don't know how the place on Beach Street staying active and open. There's usually one employee only in there. They've got, when you go by at night, all the bright lights that are on, there's not customers hardly ever in there. And so I can't imagine they're going to be around a lot longer, but because they don't do like, some of the other places that offer lotto or cigar smoking or whatever. But I think that the land development code can be and should be looked into for new types of businesses, if we call them that way.
Isn't land use addressed in zoning rather than land development?
well,
Typically.
the land development code is in Daytona Beach is a unified land development code. So the zoning districts are part and portion of the land development code. So
I know in Volusia I've got a notebook with land dev and then a section on zoning, and while they mesh, they're different. And Daytona's not that way.
it's a unified land development code. in Daytona
Well, it's going to be
Beach.
same principle on making an amendment. I know exactly where you're coming from on it. So it's going to, have to sit down, you have to look at the zoning, you have to see what those permitted uses are within that district and see what district that, might encompass. Let's say if it's from Orange Avenue to Magnolia or ISB, and then you look at what those permitted uses are within there. And then, for instance, when we're doing a planned unit development and we do a development agreement, we start out listing everything we can potentially think is going to go onto that property. And then there's an underlying zoning that says, well, you can't do this, that. You can't have a farm, you can't have automotive, you can't, because it's not in that underlying zoning that you're changing it to. So I guess the point here is that there is a process to look at what those permitted uses are and then amend them. That probably goes through legal, I would imagine, when one wants to do that. But anyway, it's not here to decide, but there's a way to do it. We just get Mark to sit in on it.
So is that something that this board can at least initiate and get the discussion rolling, or does Cheryl have to do this as an individual, apply for an amendment to the?
You know that answer? I don't know that answer. I don't know that answer right now.
Well, I think it's all of the above, really, honestly. It is you as a property owner or resident of this community that you have a concern about some particular use in the, for this case, in the redevelopment area. So you start small. And if there was something submitted to the city manager that we have a concern for these particular uses, then the city manager will decide what direction to go into to get the planning department to look into it, to see if there's any provisions that we can enact or put together some type of policy that would have to be reviewed by the various entities that we feel should look at it.
So if we were to vote on a proposition to investigate that, would that not put that on the policy agenda, at least as to?
No, that would go to the city manager. He's the
You need to have more
entity.
specific. In my experience with doing these things is you've got a specific definition, specific area, specific, just to put a general thing. We don't like alcohol on Beach Street.
No, we'd say what zoning category we're talking about, which would be the primary zoning category that covers Beach Street, and we suggest that tobacco-related uses be prohibited. The existing uses would become non-conforming, would be non-conforming uses?
Well, and you would start small. You would start in the redevelopment areas. That would be, and not just broad base it with the city, just the redevelopment area.
Yeah. I don't think you could get away with prohibiting it in the city.
No, but the redevelopment board has, the redevelopment area has at least some language that we should be able to work on to protect those of us in the business in a redevelopment area.
It does.
I'm sure John's not very
And it's
happy
got
with
a-
the people that
it's
are right
also-
behind you now that are out there, still by your dumpster and everything else and that are from
Yeah, but that's
vaping.
not the business's fault.
No, just like you said, the owner says, like, somebody comes to you and says, I want to rent your building and I want to do this, and they said, okay, I'll rent it to you, but it's contingent on approval to do this kind of a use. I just happen to come to mind that there is a policy section in the beginning of whether it's land development or zoning, and it gives you processes for going through an amendment process. So you think about it, you're setting up all these requirements of things you have to meet. Well, there's got to be some way and so that you can pursue changing those.
Yeah.
Or, or you're stuck with it forever.
There is.
Gosh, I'm not sure what that was. That was an open discussion under staff reports.
Yes, and I don't have anything else to address.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I did want to add one thing, just so that you all know and appeal to you as well. We've gotten an uptick of calls for individuals who want to do murals throughout the city. And so we've been asked to take a look at some buildings. But if you all know buildings and property owners who want to have some of that done on their buildings, let us know, because we would like to. There is a couple people who said, hey, if you know of a building or a property owner, please let us know, and they will approach them. So I've been
As far
looking.
as mural painters?
Well,
Looking for a
they are
place to
painters.
apply-
They are
apply their
painters,
trade?
but they don't have authority to go on somebody's property. So they're asking us, who are some of the potential property owners, who would allow us to paint whatever on the building that would be agreeable by the property owner.
We've had 3 so far. I remember the Magic Shop, the little spot right behind your Cook's Jewelers, the,
That one
Next
that
to the
behind
Little
Cook's
League.
Jewelry, I mean, she's done a wonderful job on
That's
that one.
unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and then the mural that never occurred, it's now on a,
Cybertruck.
yeah, a Cybertruck instead.
Oh, yeah.
I did have a question. I know that there's the grants available, like we're talking about for the medicine bar and stuff like that. They have their mural out there. Does that work also in the past? If you've already beautified your building and gotten murals done, can you still apply for a grant for something that's already done? Is it only for stuff that has not been done? Does that make sense the way I'm
Not
asking it?
been done.
Okay.
We
For instance, I
got,
have murals all over my building that I paid for. I wasn't sure if I could then bring my receipts and say, hey, can I get this?
Just
because there's a 3-party agreement that our city attorney, I mean, he's said it on numerous occasions. We need to get that 3-party agreement signed before we agree to provide grant funding and before they do the mural itself.
So, are we ready to move on to public comments? Mr. Ward.
Elliott Ward, 1133 Hampton Road, Daytona Beach. I'm just going to say, in talking about the vaping shop, it seems like that might be a slippery slope because there's 3 of them in the area. And there's one vaping shop that's probably been there for about 4 or 5 years. And to all of a sudden kind of have a problem with it because it's on Beach Street just seems a little prejudicial. And also, there's a cigar shop also on Beach Street. And they've been there, y'all might have a better idea than I do. I would say at least maybe 8 years at least.
He's been here
Yeah.
forever.
I think those businesses are probably in favor of it. What would happen is they'd be legal non-conforming uses. And so they'd be allowed to continue forever. And there would be no more competition allowed because no additional businesses would be able to be created. I'll give you an example. I used to be the planning manager for Daytona Beach. And it used to be illegal for there to be alcohol sales from liquor stores on A1A. And whenever there were policies and decisions about whether there should be allowed, one of the people that used to come talk to us and tell us that we shouldn't allow an ABC on A1A was the Liquor Hut. Because they had a monopoly.
Yeah.
And, if ABC came in, they would likely be, they Liquor Hut at the time. I haven't been in it in many years, but wasn't very modern and, wouldn't be able to compete with new competition. But so I think the existing tobacco businesses would probably be big supporters of any policies that we put in place that would prohibit additional ones from being created.
Yeah, and I
Just
agree
my
with you,
opinion.
But I think the vape shops will really put up a big fight knowing that you're.
Oh, it'll be a political issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Board comments. We've already had a lot of comments. Any more? Nope. Ready to go finish the
Was
pizza?
there anything that was new in this?
Oh, man.
Or-
Chairs that were stolen from the downtown area?
No, I just asked Cheryl about it. No.
Actually, yes, Al and I have a plan to store his chairs in a trailer that we own, the city owns, so that we don't have this issue going forward.
Okay. But no, haven't been able to find the purse.
Oh,
Just
that
come up
issue,
with
yeah, I don't know, yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but.
Well, at least you got a solution. That's good. Yeah. Don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution. Well, we're going to stand adjourned.
Welcome to this edition of Meet Your Commissioner, but today you're going to meet your mayor. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham, Community Relations Manager for the City Gorgeous, Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm so delighted that you're tuned in. Welcome to the program, Mayor Henry. How are you today?
Fabulous. Thanks for having me.
It is so good to have you on the program. So, Mayor, just sit back, relax. I've got a few questions for you. I know that your constituents out there are keen to hear what you have to say about a lot of the initiatives and projects going on in Daytona Beach. So let's start with the one that I think is going to be near and dear to you, and that's you've been mayor since 2012. So what are your priorities and what are the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Well, I tell you, it's really issues that relate to our quality of life and our infrastructure. Very proud of Orange Avenue, what we've been able to do in downtown in terms of infrastructure. The New River Front Park, which is the Esplanade, partnering with Hyde and C.C. Brown is a beautiful addition to our community. Orange Avenue is another major infrastructure project. And then each year, you know, we've been able to double the budget for roads, and I know those are not the things that people like to hear so much, but I'm very proud of that. In our parks, we've been able to renovate, you know, probably half of our parks. Full renovation, just brand new. You see what we've been able to do recently at the Dickerson Center, the completion of YSG, which is over 10 years ago, was a major addition to our park system. So I hate to say it, and it's not about me, it's about the commission and the staff and the residents who pay taxes and who allow us to make decisions on their part, or in light of them in this democracy that we live in, where they allow us to represent. But the reality is we've had a lot. I mean, we've added One Daytona, Tanger outlets, facilities like, or businesses like Trader Joe's, all of which the city had a major part in. And our tax base has greatly increased and improved because of the businesses that we brought, not just the residents. So they're just, I would just say, I think the quality of life, and when I ran first, my goal was to try to, my vision is to make Daytona Beach worthy of the dreams of our children. And I think when you add a better, more dynamic community that looks better, looks more welcoming, more vibrant, and then you add things to do. You think about all of the things that we have now for kids to do that we didn't have before. Dave and Buster's, to name one that my children love. Game time, and we have some golfing venues that are set to come to Daytona Beach. So it's that part I love talking about, and I could go on and on. But quality of life, I think, has been enhanced in our infrastructure.
Absolutely. And you're right, the parks are really, they've come to life in many cases. Joe Harris Park, Collins Park, so many great things going on in the city right now. Recently, the City Commission had a strategic planning session. And can you share with us some of the goals that came out of that planning session?
Yeah, and these have been sort of ongoing, but each year you want to sort of like renew your nuptials or your vows or your commitments, things that are important to you as a commission, and therefore city staff and city manager are asked to push these things forward. Number one, and it's been the case for a while, has been affordable housing.
Big one, yeah.
And workforce housing with a focus on diversifying the product. We always want to be sure that we have home ownership as a priority, but you also want to be able to add greater rental properties that are more affordable for residents. And then we want to continue to improve upon our infrastructure, roads, utilities, flooding, and what happened with the storms of last summer and last fall, still a priority and will be in the foreseeable future. When you look at Midtown and the fact that Midtown has been flooding since the 40s, we've done some things, but we have much more work to do. And then increased activities, purposeful focus on our youth and young people, which is always a way to help abate crime, is giving young people something to do.
Yeah, if they're not hanging out on the street and they have structured activity, it makes a big difference. With that being said, Mary, you've had a keen interest in as a school administrator. Literacy has been one of the top priorities for you. And the literacy initiative that was developed for school-age children, can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Well, we have what's called the Mayor's Literacy Initiative, and the objective is to influence students when they're outside of school. Because a lot of times kids, especially when they're in more marginalized, economically depressed households, when they're out of school, books are closed. So we have supported a litany of initiatives and efforts to make certain that doesn't happen. One has been, we've had the Mayor's Boot Camp for math and reading, which my wife runs a program that she has created called the Math Party. And in the last 2 summers, our students have had an opportunity to learn multiplication through math, dance, and exercise. And that helps to keep them prepared for school when they're out. We've had reading initiatives in our summer camps where I go around and different members of the staff and we read to the children in the summer camps. We have had at our summer camp this summer at Snebly Center where our students became authors. They worked on a book that they collaborated together and they all wrote portions of the book. And so, many of them as young as 6, 7, 8 years old through 12, 13 are now published authors.
Awesome.
I was most pleased with what we were able to do at the Midtown Center. We had a debate club where students actually learned the skill of debate. And I was there for their first formal debate. And now we are starting the Daytona Beach Debate Club, which we want to continue to teach them how to agree to disagree and how to argue their points in a professional way. And to see that, it was just a thing of beauty. Then we have little libraries at all of our schools or at all of our community centers where we keep the library centers stocked. Kids can just walk up and take a book of their choosing. And then we do ask them to bring books back. And so there's just literacy is a priority because when your citizens and your young people are literate, they become better citizens and better adults and better able to contribute to our democracy.
Oh, absolutely. Mayor, the one thing I think residents in Daytona Beach can say is there's always something to do in the city every single day of the week. You talked about some of the things for the youth, but there's a lot of things adults can do. In fact, there's over 30 different programs that are being offered throughout the city. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, over 30 programs, and they just have such a great variety. There's something for everyone to enjoy during their leisure time, from game night to kung fu, our senior oasis I know we have a senior oasis center for seniors that meets once a week at the Snebly Center, at the Dickerson Center, at the Midtown Center, and at YSG. You can find a program in any of those community centers. I believe there's one other center. Cypress Aquatic Center. My kids learn to swim there, and they still go back for refresher courses. One of 2 aquatic centers in Daytona Beach is home to several programs, including Aqua, Zumba, Swim League, and the USRP swim team. To view programs, again, you can visit us at codb.us.
And Mayor, you recently developed it's called the Youth Advisory Board. Can you share with the residents a little bit about that initiative?
Well, I believe in youth leadership. You know, I learned in the church and in this community how to lead and how to follow, how to listen, how to speak publicly. And so I believe that we have to give our youth opportunities to access city government, to give their voice to the city manager, to their commissioner, and to myself as mayor. And so several years ago, I went to a mayor's summit out in California where they taught us how to engage and how to start youth advisory initiatives. And so we've worked, and it's been a labor of love until we got it massaged and we're able to develop and design something that we think is good for our community. But our young people will have access to city staff to learn how city government works, and then they will be able to tell us what they see and what they need and what they believe in, and ultimately and what they want to see from their city. But ultimately, I would like to have them also volunteer to learn the value of citizenship. How do I participate in my community? How do I make it better? How do I volunteer? How do I serve? How do I listen to older people? And because I believe that our community centers have to have the seasoned, the middle-aged, and the young engaging together so that we can all partner to make Daytona Beach better. Very excited about this project.
All right. And I know you and your wife are both kind of fitness buffs, and you have the Mayor's Fitness Challenge every year. Kind of tell us, where's that program right now? How's it doing?
Well, she's a certified fitness instructor. I prefer to be a couch potato. But when you're married to someone who works out 6-7 days a week and wakes up at 5 a.m., they drag you along. And so I decided to drive the city along, drag the city along we have a mantra in our house called winter, where we live by, we try to live by water, we intermittently fast, we try to have nutrition on a daily basis and eat certain things that we should. We try to say no to things that we shouldn't as much as possible. You know, those fried foods and too much sugar, we try to do those in moderation. Exercise and rest. So the mantra is winner, and we take that and we infuse it into the Mayor's Fitness initiative, which has been wildly successful. It's sold out every year with 125 to 150 of Daytona Beach residents, where we partner twice a week with our residents and fitness experts to work out in community centers, walk the bridge, go to One Daytona, use their fitness equipment. We oftentimes go to Advent, walk their trail, and basically show folks what they can do in Daytona Beach to exercise without having to pay. There's so many positive venues to work out in and to feel good about. And so every year it's sold out, and such that our residents are asking us to do it twice a year. Yeah.
And there's another great program that the city offers, and it's called Citizens Academy. Kind of share with those who may not be familiar with Citizens Academy what that's all about.
It's one of the best aspects of our community, to be honest with you. Because when you live in a community, oftentimes you know that there's a lot going on, but you don't know exactly how much. You don't know how much city government is really operating to make Daytona Beach what I refer to as a great American destination. So Betty Goodman, one of my favorite city employees, assistant city manager, facilitates an opportunity for residents to get to know the various departments in Daytona Beach. Fire department, police department, wastewater, communications, all of the departments in Daytona Beach, the city manager's office. And you see what they do to make Daytona Beach a great city. And residents walk away from that, and recently we had a reunion because we've been doing it since 2009. And residents, so we had a reunion to show the updates and much of that has changed since 2009 to 2023. And residents are just blown away by how the wastewater plant works, how water gets from the plant to their house, how recycled water, and what the police department does. It's amazing. And so residents love it, and I love seeing residents, and many of the people who come, it inspires them to get engaged in the community and to partner with us to do things to make the city more exciting.
And being called an academy is a perfect name because it really is a learning experience. It's like being in school. And you're seeing all the various components of the city and how they integrate and work together. And I think it's fabulous. I asked this of the commissioners, I'm going to ask you as well. You're a school administrator and you're the mayor of the world's most famous beach. You've got a private life and a public life. How do you kind of find balance between the two?
Well, as my children, I have two young children, as they get older, it becomes more of a challenge, to be honest. But I don't have hobbies, honestly. I love Daytona Beach. And so my hobbies are partnering with the city. I love literacy. So I take my children to things that are involved with literacy. I do like the arts. So I do frequent the Peabody. I partner with the Peabody Advisory Board. And I love exercise. So I coach and teach kids how to play basketball. I actually mentor kids who play basketball. I work with them every other Sunday, just teaching them the fundamentals of basketball and talking a little bit about life. So that way I'm able to partner and balance things that I do with my children with things that I like to do for the city. Of course, literacy is important. So, both my children are avid readers, and we push them to do that. And so we bring them along with all of that. My wife is a professional educator. So a lot of the things that we do, we just marry them into the city. And we consider ourselves to be stewards of Daytona Beach. And if you want to be a steward of anything, you have to care about it. You have to be committed to it. And then the balance is, you find opportunities to get away and just to support one another as a family. As you know, my family has been long involved in Daytona Beach, but we just find ways to support each other and to do the things that we like as it relates to travel.
All right. Yeah. Well, Mayor, you've been mayor for quite some time, and you've seen several iterations of the city commission. So with the current city commission, What do you see as really some of the strengths that this commission brings to the city?
Diversity is very, very diverse. 5 women, two males, good balance of African Americans, and one person born outside of the United States. So the perspectives that everyone brings, some people lifelong residents, some aren't. So you have that homegrown feeling, but you also have perspectives that come from other places. But all 7 people committed to Daytona Beach, and they all bring different issues that they're passionate about. It's always beautiful to see Commissioner Strickland committed to First Step Shelter. He volunteers in First Step Shelter. Commissioner Henry in reading and uses that as a legacy. She's made sure that almost all of our elementary schools has a book vending machine. Commissioner Reed, and I can talk about all of our commissioners. She does an amazing job with seafood festivals and making sure that the festivals are operating. Commissioner Cantu, who's my commissioner, she's an awesome commissioner who gets around to the community neighborhood meetings in ways that blow me away, and her engagement with residents. Commissioner May and her partnerships at Bethune-Cookman and Embry-Riddle, she makes certain to try to keep the colleges engaged in the community. So all of our commissioners, they just do a fantastic job. And Commissioner Parrish, who's new, she was a participant in the Citizens Academy, and watching her advocate for her residents with the reading benches or the book benches, knowing where to put them. And just, this is an amazing commission that I appreciate their commitment to the community, but the fact that we all come with different opinions and we don't always agree, but we do so in a civil and a cordial manner, and we realize that at the end of the day, everyone is here for a better Daytona Beach. And, so I appreciate the commission that we have right now.
It's a great commission. So Mayor, look into your crystal ball and tell your constituents what you see for the future of the world's most famous beach.
Well, I see continued emphasis on making Daytona Beach a beautiful destination for residents and visitors. I see a more enlightened boardwalk area. And I'm just a person that's always real. Our beach is the greatest, prettiest, but our boardwalk needs an overhaul. And so our objective is to find ways to bring in more entertainment to our beach side. I see a more dynamic Main Street, and I see a city that continues to be attractive to residents and attracting people from all across America. I see young people from Bethune-Cookman to Embry-Riddle to Stetson to Daytona State staying closer and realizing that we have opportunities for them right here. But most importantly, I think I see a Daytona Beach that continues to be welcoming, that continues to be a city that aspires and strives to be safe, and that works with our police and law enforcement and young people to make Daytona Beach the great American destination.
Well, Mayor, thank you so much for being on the program today. It's Meet Your Mayor today instead of Meet Your Commissioner, and we look forward to all of the great things that you're going to continue to do as our mayor. You've been watching this edition of Meet Your Commissioner. It's Meet Your Mayor today, and we have, I think, the greatest mayor anywhere in the United States. We hope you keep listening to Channel 490, Daytona Beach Television. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Welcome to this edition of Daytona Beach Television. This is a segment called Meet Your Commissioner. I am your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. I'm delighted today to have the Commissioner for Zone 2, Mr. Ken Strickland, as our guest here on the program today. Welcome to Meet Your Commissioner, Mr. Strickland. How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
It is so good to have you on the program, and we're in a beautiful setting here in Collins Park, and a lot of work has been done in the last few months.
Oh yes, there's been a lot of work done here, new sidewalks, and we have the new dog park over there with the watering station for the dogs, and it has plenty of shade. It's probably one of the nicest small parks we have in the city.
It really is. And you're really one of our newer commissioners, so to speak, although you've been there for a little bit. But tell us a little bit about yourself. There may be listeners out there who don't know much about Mr. Ken Strickland.
Well, Ken Strickland has lived in the area since 1990 and just been a community activist, really. Just, going to all the city meetings, paying attention to what's going on in our city, and seeing how sometimes things have been, in my opinion, mismanaged. We don't have that problem now. We have a great commission. We have a great mayor. We have a really, really, really good city manager. And I think we're turning things around. I mean, we don't all always agree on everything. And I think that's good, because I remember for years it was a 7-0 vote for everything. So, some of us question different things, but we compromise and move on. And I think we have a really good mayor and commission right now.
You're absolutely right. And you're so right. You were active before you were a commissioner. I think that's where I first met you, was at a city commission meeting. You were concerned about the city and wanted to see some of the changes that we're now seeing since you've been commissioner. So let's talk about your zone a little bit, because in Zone 2, there are some challenges, particularly as it relates to the Seabreeze corridor. What are your thoughts as it relates to Seabreeze Boulevard?
We've got to get Seabreeze Boulevard under control. There's a lot of nightlife, night activity over there, and at closing time, something happens to people, and it just gets out of hand in the blink of an eye. So we're working real hard on that right now to try to get that under control, and especially with the cameras, we have. I think the mayor contributed $20,000 in COVID money. I committed $80,000 in COVID money, and from Atlantic all the way over to Halifax, we're providing more cameras, and we're going to improve the lighting so that we can keep a better eye on what's going on there. I do feel like that once we put that up there, it's not going to immediately get everything under control until everybody realizes that they're being watched. And once they realize that they can't get away with busting somebody in the head and kicking them while they're down in the middle of the street, they'll learn to behave. Under control.
It is something that I know that the commissioners and the mayor, you all have been focusing in on that and looking at strategies and ways to combat that. And let's broaden that out a little bit. You are the commissioner for Zone 2, but your vote affects the entire city in many areas. So let's look at the core area of the city. And by that core, I mean the Midtown area. What are you seeing that can be done to kind of improve the heartbeat of our city?
Well, we're going to have to, at some point, take some drastic measures as far as the flooding over there. I mean, we don't have to have a hurricane. We just happen to have tropical storm, or sometimes even just a summertime thunderstorm. Will flood that area, and we've got to deal with that, and we've got to help to either move into a place that's up, or help them, has the elevation not to flood, or to stop the flooding where they're living now. And it's going to be a difficult task, but that's been flooding over there since the beginning of time, and we just keep pushing it down the road and putting it off, and I think we're getting closer to doing some things now as far as improving the quality of life there, because they deserve to have an excellent quality of life and not be in waist deep water every time we have a storm.
Yeah, and the Army Corps of Engineers, I believe, are going to be doing a study for that area, and I'm really excited about that, because I think it's going to bring some much needed relief to the people who are living in that area.
Right. My opinion is where it's flooding the most, we need to help those people move out, purchase their properties if they own their property, If they're renting, we need to relocate them, and maybe just turn that area into a huge retention pond if necessary. Because it's unacceptable for people to have to worry about that every summer.
Yeah. Well, we live here in the world's most famous beach. That's the moniker that will never go away, no matter how many times they try to change it and come up with a new tagline. That one is the one that sticks. And that means, Mr. Strickland, that we are an event city. We kind of we go from one event to the next. What are your thoughts on the challenges that are associated with the events we have every year?
Well, I have several thoughts on that, some popular, some not. We are an event city. We need to learn how to manage and by that I mean to be able to get every dollar we can out of the attendees that come here, but also keep the quality of life that our residents deserve without a lot of noise, without a lot of hoopla, and without the violence and stuff. And I think that the older biker crowd like me are dying out or riding three wheels like me, you know. So, you know, it's going to be a challenge. And if we don't manage it properly in the transition to the sport bike crowd, we may lose that. And a lot of folks don't realize how much money that brings in for restaurants, hotels, and other forms of entertainment we have here.
Absolutely. And I'm always amazed by how well our police and fire departments during those times when we swell to become one of the largest cities in the state during Bike Week and the Daytona 500. The police and the fire department, I mean, they really step up, given the enormous crowds that we draw. Give me your thoughts on how well they work.
They do a great job. Fire department does a great job. The police department does a really great job because for the last few years they have been undermanned, if you will. They didn't have enough people. We're still down. You know, I think 15 or 20 officers, but we've hired some new officers lately, and I think the latest class is about to graduate and be able to move out into the field, and that'll be very helpful for us. But we've got to have a way to maintain the quality of life for our current residents. That's first priority. And then we should be able to learn to manage those things.
Now, you've been sitting on the city commission for a little bit now. What are you seeing, Commissioner Strickland, as some of the strengths that the city commission really has right now?
I think we all have our residents as first priority. We all don't always agree with what's before us, but I think we all, in our opinions in the different zones, tend to stand by our residents and represent our residents' best wishes, you know, and to help them to maintain the quality of life that they deserve here.
Yeah, and that's so true. And it is important for the commissioners to recognize that, as I said earlier, although you're the commissioner for this zone, the responsibility you have covers the entire city.
Absolutely.
And that makes a big difference. So what are the challenges, if you had a crystal ball and you could look into the future, what are some of the things that you see in the future that are going to challenge our city?
Quality of life is the main thing. I think that, you know, we emphasize that we're with development that we need to be ready for those people that are coming here, and I agree with that to a point. What I most agree with is the fact that we need to take better care of the residents that are already here. We need to be sure that the residents that are already here have everything they need. Their quality of life is maintained, and even, you know, made better, because we shouldn't forget about our residents. I know part of my zone over on the west side of the Halifax is the fact that that zone doesn't have a lot of parks in Zone 2, doesn't have a lot of things going on, but they're getting some streets paved over there. And I've worked on some things with trying to get their rubbish and trash picked up and stuff along the streets, because I felt like when I was campaigning, those people were forgotten
Mm.
and had been forgotten. And I've worked as hard as I can to try to upgrade their quality of life and make sure they get the same service as the rest of the city.
Now, since you've been elected as a commissioner, that obviously has kind of probably upset the balance of life for you a little bit. So how has your life kind of changed since you've been elected to this position?
Well, you know, I was very active before I was elected. Now I have to be very careful what I say, when I say it, and who I say it to, because I could get sued, get the city sued. And I do my best to not publicly speak about how I feel about certain things before it ever comes before us, because then they can come back and that's something I wasn't used to. You know, I was used to standing up there and saying whatever was on my mind or posting what was on my mind.
Right.
I can't do that now.
Yeah, that it does change your life a little bit.
Quite a bit. Everybody's watching.
Oh yes. As a commissioner, as you say, every word is parsed and dissected, and everybody has an opinion. There's been recently, over the last couple of years, actually, a lot of discussion about the East ISB corridor, which comes down into your zone, that ISB stretch. What are your thoughts as we're looking to kind of improve that whole section of our city?
Well, you know, Zone 2 is going to come down to the north side of East ISB beginning September 1st. So I'm going to try to be more involved with what's going on the east end of ISB there between, you know, Nova Road and the beach. However, you know, we need to be careful about what we do there and careful with giving out too many incentives without any restrictions on it. We got to be able to monitor the people that we give incentives to along there. I'm for upgrading that along there. It needs to be, it's the gateway to our city.
Yeah.
It should be beautiful. You shouldn't drive over there and go, wow, that was here 15, 20 years ago, and it looks worse now than ever, you know. And so, you know, we got to be careful what we do there. We got to be very specific with what we do and make sure that the city as a whole have neighborhood meetings and stuff and make sure that our residents are happy with the plans. There's not a whole lot we can do about what FDOT does, but what we do as a city, we need to make sure everybody's involved. Everybody had a chance to say what they're looking for, what they want, what they don't want. And, you know, I don't consider myself a leader. I consider myself an elected official that represent, elected representative of the people, and I've voted for some things already that I didn't agree with. And I'll continue to do that if that's what the majority of the residents I represent would like for me to do.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Strickland, for being on Meet Your Commissioner today. Is there anything that I left out that you want to say to your constituents, because they're going to be watching this program?
Come check out Collins Park. It's one of the nicest small parks in our city. It's right here on the river. It's behind the fire station on Halifax. Come over, check it out. It's shady. Got a little dog park over there and new playground equipment for your kids. So bring the kids and the small dogs over and have a nice time.
I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. I do want to thank you for watching this edition of Daytona Beach Television. My guest today has been Zone 2 Commissioner, Mr. Ken Strickland. We'll see you next time. Keep tuning in. Hello, everybody. This is Daytona Beach Television, and I am your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham, Community Relations Manager for the City Gorgeous, Daytona Beach, Florida. I am delighted that you are tuned in to the television broadcast today, and this segment is the Meet Your Commissioner segment. And today I am honored and delighted to have as my guest the Commissioner for Zone Number 1, Monica Paris. Welcome to Daytona Beach Radio,
Thank you very
Commissioner.
much. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you, and we are in a beautiful setting.
We are
Here at the Pendleton Club, right on the water.
right on the river, which is now, after redistricting, is part of Zone 1. And I'm glad that you're here with us and looking forward to doing the interview.
Well, let's get started.
Okay.
There may be some people out there who don't know who Monica Paris is. I find that hard to believe, but it's possible. So why don't you share with the listeners a little bit about your background?
Okay, well, I was born in Italy. When I was 2, my parents came to the United States. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I got my bachelor's in business management and financing. I worked in a family business. We had a check cashing. And then I graduated into wholesale furniture sales and operations, which I spent almost 20 years. I have a love of manufacturing and design. And then in 2016, I decided to make a change, and I came to Florida, and here I am in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach.
And it is a beautiful city. And as I said earlier, the setting that we're in here at the Pendleton Club is just fantastic. It's a great place to be. And for people who've never been down here to see it, they might want to just take a ride by, because this is a great part of your zone. So let's get started with your zone. You are Zone 1, and you mentioned redistricting is going to be taking place. So give the listeners a little bit of a visual of the geographic boundaries, if you will, for Zone 1.
So Zone 1 is the southernmost part of Daytona Beach. On beachside, it borders Daytona Beach Shores to Silver Beach Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the mainland, it's from Shady Place to Bevel, from Beach to a little bit past Clyde Morris after redistricting.
So that's a pretty good area.
Yes, it's one of the highest populated, dense areas in the city of Daytona Beach. It's mostly residents in a small area.
And since you've become Commissioner of Zone 1, a lot has taken place, a lot has gone on. So give us a sense of what some of your priorities are for the zone that you represent.
Well, the priorities are, one is safety. I think that's really important. Our chief of police is doing a great job right now with retention. We should be up to numbers by the graduating class in November. And he knows that he has a support of Zone 1. Anything he needs, I'm there to help. And the residents are also very thankful, because it is a national problem that we're having recruiting. So that's one thing. The second thing is flooding. So now that the Army Corps of Engineers is involved, working with them to see what needs to be done to help with the flooding that's been happening in Zone 1, Zone 3, a lot of zones. We keep on having a lot of storms. And also working with the residents to let them know that we are listening, and working in collaboration with the residents and the staff, because the residents are the eyes and the ears of the city where we can't see. And I hope to be that intermediate middleman to let the city know what the residents need done.
And before we began the segment, you said something that was really interesting, and it piqued my attention.
Sure.
You said, I'm in politics, but I'm not a politician.
Yes.
So, and that was fascinating. So, and that's a great take. So give me a sense of what you're most proud of being the commissioner for Zone Number 1.
I really have to say the residents. There's so much concern from them, participation, communications. They really want to be part of the change in Daytona. That saying, be the change you want to see. And I see that they're willing and able to help. And that's really good, because we need involvement. It's about community. And one thing that I noticed when I was campaigning, I thought I was just lucky that I had such great neighbors. But when I went to different pockets of Zone 1, everyone had their little groups, and they were all ready to help one another. And anything that they needed, they were there for each other. And they chose to live here, which is great. It's like, I came to Daytona Beach. I love it here. The people are great, and the city is great. So that's what I'm proud of, really, the residents and the people here.
And you know that's remarkable that you said that, because like you, I chose to live here in Florida, and I think that makes a big difference. Native Floridians, they have a sense of pride about the fact that they were born here. But for you and I, this is a place that we chose to come, and we chose to be part of this community and try to help the community to be better. And I think that goes a long way. So what are your thoughts about the core of the city of Daytona Beach? When I say the core, you know, you're the commissioner for Zone 1, but you make decisions that affect the whole city. So kind of what are your thoughts about how we can maybe improve the core of the city, the heart of the city?
So same thing when I was campaigning, I asked a woman, I said, you know, what do you want to see in Daytona Beach? And she's like, well, I'm not in your zone. I can't vote for you. And I said, well, that's okay. You know, I still vote for the city as a whole. You know, we want to see the best for the city, and what do the residents want to see?
Yeah.
I think that's very important because we all live here and we all want to be part of it. So what do you want to see? The core, I think, just needs a little help with more development. But the city is doing a lot with a lot of rec centers, repaving of streets, new lighting. We just need to get the private sector a little bit more involved. And also, which I love that the city is doing, is that we have provided vacant lots that the city owned to organizations that will build single family homes so people could have home ownership, which I think that is so important, to be able to own your own home, have it generational, and be part of the community. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think makes Daytona Beach so unique is that we are an event-driven city. We have Bike Week, we have Biketoberfest, we have the truck races, Daytona 500, and the list goes on. So what do you see as being an event city that is really challenging for us?
Well, we are still doing a lot of policing with the budget of a regular city, but not an event city. And we have millions of visitors that come a year, and I do think they do a great job. So that's one of the challenges, to do the best you can with the money that you have, and being good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars too, which is important.
It really is. And you're right. We become one of the largest cities in the state of Florida when we have some of these major events that come into town. As a new commissioner, what do you see as some of the strengths of this current commission that you've been part of now for quite a while?
I feel everyone is faith-driven, and they're all go-getters. And they want to see the best possible changes, and they work hard until they get it, which I really am happy that I could be part of now.
And what do you see ahead for the city? If you could look into a crystal ball and just look maybe 10, 15 years down the road, what do you see as happening here in the city of Daytona Beach?
Well, I think the purpose of government is to keep its residents safe, to make sure that the infrastructure is running smoothly, in place, lighting, safety. That's important. So I hope that we graduate to a point that our infrastructure and everything matches who we are as a city.
And we've had some challenges recently, particularly on the Seabreeze Boulevard corridor there. What do you see as the mood of the city? Because you talked a little bit about the police department and their challenges. So what do you see as the overall mood of our city right now?
I think we're in an upswing of things, even with the events that have happened on Seabreeze. Like I said, I think it's also important that business owners get involved in protecting the patrons. It's not only the job of the city and the police department to make sure people are safe. If someone is coming to your establishment, that should be one of your priorities as well. But we have been working with the business owners to make sure that their staff is trained. The city is opening a new substation on Grandview off of Seabreeze. A big thing too, we have a lot of neighborhood groups that volunteer a lot of their time to do things, to provide suggestions, and that's very important. It's not like they're just telling us where the problems are. They're providing us with suggestions. And I know that the mayor has a beachside committee that works with different ideas that we could implement as a city too, which I think is really good to have.
It is. And how important is it for the businesses to kind of work with the city to improve our safety throughout the area?
I think it's very important. Like I said, I really believe that the business owners have to take more responsibility to make sure that their patrons are being safe. You know, we're there just in case of emergency, you know?
Yeah. So tell us how you balance your work as a city commissioner, and you're very involved in other things outside of.
I don't know if I do.
So tell us how you balance that public and private life as a commissioner.
Well, being part of the community is very important. So to me, I guess when you love what you do, it's not work. So I try to do a lot that I'm out in the community seeing what people want and talking to people and relationships, and just I've met so many great people. I can't even tell you how many people I've met since I've done this. And it's refreshing because, you know, with all the craziness going on in the world, the people I've met here, you know, are they feel positive that the change is going to be for the better, and they're willing to work to help make that happen.
And that is amazing, because contrary, I think, to public opinion sometimes, residents really do want to see their communities improve. They want to see their communities safe, and they want to work with city commissioners to get whatever those issues are addressed in their own communities. Do you find that to be the case?
I do. What I think is really important when I go to speaking events, I make it a point to tell people, find out who your city commissioner is, give them a phone call, ask to meet with them because they're willing to. I think that works better than just sending an email, because, you know, you're so inundated with different emails and they just come flooding in. But if there's a voice behind that person that wants to speak to their city commissioners, 95% of the time, you know, they're going to be able to talk to you and listen to you and see how they could help, because that's what I think we're here for, is to help.
Yeah. And recently, there's been a lot of the newspapers have been reporting on some of the improvements that are coming to the ISB East Corridor. So give us your thoughts on these improvements that we hope to be happening real soon, and how you think that's going to improve that whole aesthetic there.
Well, it is a major thoroughfare. When you go over that bridge, you know, you enter the world's most famous beach. Exactly. And I have to say, one of the best parts of my day is when I go over these bridges that bring you to beachside, because you do see our beautiful bridge. So since that is a state road, which I learned there is state, city, county roads. So please forgive us if we don't get to your requests soon enough, because, you know, there's other agencies we might have to contact. But I hope it does happen quickly. I did hear that it was a long time in the making of this. So I just hope, with all of the need for infrastructure, since Florida is getting so busy, that the funds will come in and it'll be done quicker.
Absolutely. Well, Commissioner, is there anything that I missed that you want to share with your constituents who are watching you right now?
Well, if you don't know, I do love Daytona Beach. Hashtag Daytona, love Daytona Beach. It really is the best city, and I can't wait to see where we'll be in another 10 years or so.
You've been watching this edition of Daytona Beach Television. Meet your commissioner. And your commissioner that you met today is Commissioner Monica Parrish. She's the commissioner for Zone 1, doing a fantastic job. And we're going to have other commissioners coming. So listen, keep that television station right on channel 490, because you're going to see all of the commissioners and the mayor coming on this station. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Today, I'm delighted to bring you once again to another segment of Daytona Beach Television. I am your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham, Community Relations Manager for the City Gorgeous, Daytona Beach, Florida. Today, my guest is Commissioner Stacy Cantu, and she represents Zone Number 4. We're here at the beautiful Pelican Bay Sports Club. As a matter of fact, if you belong to an organization and you're looking for a place to meet, let me tell you, they have renovated this place and it looks awesome. Welcome to Daytona Beach Television, Commissioner. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I'm happy that you're here in Pelican Bay, my neighborhood.
There you go.
25 years.
Yes.
And he has done amazing with this
Facility is really awesome. It is really nice, and this is a great setting. And it is hot outside, so thank you for for bringing us inside to do this segment. So let's get started. There may be people who don't know who Commissioner Stacy Cantu is, so let's get started with you telling them a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've lived in Daytona Beach over 40 years. I'm married with 5 children.
Okay.
All my children are grown, so I have the time to do this job now. All in their 30s. Actually, today, my youngest just turned 32.
Oh, congratulations.
So she was born at Halifax Hospital. I have 13 grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
I'm come from a military family, a lot of veterans, and actually we have family members that are in active duty as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been very involved with the veterans in this community, and I love Daytona Beach.
Yes, you have been quite active since you lived here in Daytona Beach. I think in all of our city, sometimes there are places that you as a commissioner are particularly concerned about.
Yes.
Are there any areas of your zone that are a particular concern to you right now?
Absolutely.
That you want to really focus in on?
Absolutely is infrastructure.
Okay.
Everyone hears about LPGA. And it needs to be widened, but there's negotiations going on with the state and the county about trading out that road. The state has taken over the funds, so right now I represent the TPO, and they are in the process of the engineering and design. We had moved up the project, I believe, from 2031 to 2021, 2025,
Okay.
last March. We also were able to put $7 million in the right of way for that funding. And you still hear people say there's no money for construction. Well, the reason there's no money for construction, the state has to determine how much it's going to cost. So that's why you have to have the design.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking we're probably still looking at least another 3 or 4 years till we actually see something progressed over there. The Dunn extension, we're going to need all those other roads, which the Dunn is a county road as well. I know I think it was actually the last commission meeting, they just funded for the design and engineering of the Dunn extension at the county level. And I know the city, state, and county are trying to work together. I know the city, we passed a project a while back called the INA, and it was allowed up to, I think, the development of 1,834 homes, which the density was lowered to 344, and they were going to pay up to the right of way. So we're all working together to try to get all this infrastructure. Another thing that's really a problem out in the LPGA area is cell connection. And I have been working very hard to get this cell tower, which it's in the works. Right now, it's going to be at the fire station off the LPGA, and we're waiting for FAA clearance right now. But there is talk, so I know my residents are going to be happy. There's talk about having another one over there, over by the utility department over there.
Interesting. That is interesting. So let's switch gears. Those are some of the concerns,
Yes.
but on the positive side, what has made you kind of glad that you are the commissioner of Zone 4?
First of all, I love working and trying to get things accomplished with the residents. Sidewalks.
Okay.
I am call me the sidewalk commissioner. My first month in, I actually campaigned. I don't know if you remember over there off Klein Morris between Pine Lakes and Big Tree.
Okay.
over decades, because I used to own a house over there, and my kids, like I said, are in their 30s. That sidewalk has been missing forever. Well, I campaigned on it thinking it was a Daytona, and it was actually county.
Okay.
But I was able to accomplish to get that done within a month. And you see our bike path that's going on, that we'll work in the city with DOT. Sidewalk over there from Bayberry to Publix. They kept going back and forth for years, saying it's county, the state's county. Well, I looked into it, and Minto was supposed to pay for it, so I was able to get that sidewalk in. Grand Champion, they had missing sidewalks. I'm just like the sidewalk, and I'm working right now on sidewalks all the way down LPGA on the east side. So, and I think we got that accomplished too.
Excellent.
But sidewalks are a big thing, and veterans. One of my campaign promises was the Veteran Museum.
Yeah.
And that was something I was able to accomplish with the commission, of course, and we were able to move the Veteran Museum back to Daytona Beach. So
Excellent.
I was very proud of that. If you ever get a chance, please go by and take a look. It's amazing.
I will. And you've done a lot of work in a very short period of time that I know you're very proud of. And you're commissioner of Zone 4. However, the entire city is under the purview of all of our commissioners and our mayor to make sure that quality of life is great throughout the city. So looking at the core of the city, when I say the core of the city, I mean the heart of the city. What do you think can be done to kind of make some improvements there?
One of the main things is our flooding in the core of the city. That is something that's very dear to me, and I kept going after our congressman. I don't know if you've read that with the mayor calls me, what did he call me, a rabid pit bull? And I know the city has been working on that for a long time, but we finally have the Army Corps coming here. But that's a problem that's very dear to me. We still need help in affordable housing, but I think our city does the greatest with affordable housing than most cities in Volusia County.
And you're absolutely right. I think affordable housing is very high on the list for all of you because it's a major concern, not just in Daytona Beach, but really across the state of Florida. Prices are really astronomical. So that's a big, big thing.
And I think it's because we have so many people moving here, and our income level wasn't like their income level. So when they come here, like, for instance, my son who lived in New York, he had a flat. He was used to paying $3,000, $3,500 for a little flat. And when you come here and you get a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom for that, that's a mansion to them. But for us, I mean, that's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because of our income level.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
And Daytona Beach is, we are an event town. We have the races, we have Bike Week, we have all kinds of events. So what do you see that are the challenges when it comes to, because our population can explode with some of these events when they come into town. What are some of the challenges we face with being an event city?
Well, I've been here a long time. I remember spring break back in the day and everything, and it was a little out of control, but I think we handle our events very well. Our Daytona Beach Police Department does a fantastic job. There's one thing that I would like to see different is I love Bike Week, and I don't think we have this problem every cycle in the commission about Bike Week, and I think we need to make it a little bit easier for our businesses on Main Street with the bike master plan, because a lot of these businesses have been there for a long time. I mean, one of my neighbors, he actually owns a business there, and he does the same thing every year. It should be just something same thing electronically, and we approve his. And then the ones we don't, they come back and we take a look at it. So I like to try to be more friendly to our businesses during Bike Week.
Okay. There's been some turnover since the last election with our city commission, you being one of the ones coming in, Monica Paris is another. What do you see as some of the strengths of the current commission?
Okay, I might be biased.
Okay,
But
that's okay.
I think we have a great commission. We all have different perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
but I think our strength lies in the ability to meet common ground.
Yeah.
And we are able to accomplish a lot of things
Mm.
because we have different perspectives on different things. And we listen to each other. And I actually think this commission is doing great.
Yeah. And finding common ground is really difficult sometimes. So how do you, in the heat of, I don't want to say in the heat of battle, but in the heat of discussion, how do you get to that place of pulling all of the commissioners in to finding a solution to the problem?
Well, communication.
Okay.
I mean, I think we listen to each other
Mm-hmm.
and almost, I would say 90% of the time we agree with
Mm.
each other. I mean, and we're looking out for the residents, not our personal. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just think we have a great commission.
Is very important to communicate. And so what challenges, if you could kind of look into your crystal ball, what challenges do you see that we face as a city in the next couple of years?
I'm not sounding redundant, but flooding,
Okay.
infrastructure, affordable housing. I mean, those are some of the main goals. I mean, I would like to see Mason Avenue. We just had a DOT meeting yesterday. After I had a meeting for phase one, I was very vocal on that when it originally came. I was very happy to see the plans. The commission agreed. We put in phase two with the TPO.
Mm-hmm.
So because I didn't want it just to be a Band-Aid and we stop with
Mm-hmm.
Mason Avenue, because like I said, Mason Avenue has been the same since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the most dangerous and neglected roads to me in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're going in the right direction because phase one was absolutely great. They changed the things that my residents and myself and the commission weren't happy about. And I just want to see it to keep improving on Mason. So that's one of my, even though that's really not in my zone, but it's something that's been neglected for a while. So
You're right. And looking at our city and our surrounding towns around us, how would you describe the mood of Daytona Beach? Kind of a subjective question, but how would you describe our mood?
I think most of the residents are happy the way we're, going with the progress. I mean, maybe not always happy with all the people that are moving here. I mean, daily, where we have 1,000 people moving to Florida daily or 1,500. But otherwise, I mean, there's always going to be changes. I mean, we can't stay the way we were.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes it's hard to explain to residents. A lot of these projects they see has been in the works for many, many years, and you just can't go back but we have people moving here, so we have to supply a place for them to live as well. So,
and you're quite busy.
yes, I am.
Being a commissioner is not the only thing that you're involved in. So how do you kind of balance the public life that you have as a commissioner with all the other private activities that go on in your life?
Well, one thing that's good about me, I'm semi-retired now. So time management, and my kids are grown. I do have 13 grandkids and a husband, but they're used to me. I've always been a workaholic. So,
Okay.
and they'll tell you, and I actually have a daughter that's doing the same thing, and I'm like, slow down. But I love working. I love helping people. So, and I think I manage it very well with family and working at the same time.
And you have to be a people person to be a city commissioner, because
Yeah.
your phone's constantly ringing, somebody's texting you or emailing you, and you have to be on call almost 24 hours a day.
You're definitely on call 24 hours a day.
There's recently been a lot of improvements being planned for the ISB corridor and the beachside in general. So give us your thoughts on that part of our city here in Daytona Beach.
Okay. I represent the TPO for the city of Daytona, and I'm very excited about the East ISB corridor. I think that's going to look amazing. I think another good thing that's happening, we have the police substation that's getting ready to open up. I think they're having their grand opening in a month or two. I think that's going to help things over there. I keep saying I think, but what I would want, I would like to see more lighting. I like to see some more of the blight area cleaned up, which I think code enforcement is doing amazing. I just had a meeting over there today. But I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and that is an important area because it's kind of the gateway to the beach.
Yes.
And you can't get to the beach without going down ISB in many cases.
You're absolutely right. And that's why I'm saying Mason Avenue is another gateway, even for Holly Hill.
Yeah.
So that's another important road. I'll go back to Mason, but East ISB, yes.
Yeah.
And I think the improvement is going to be great. They just opened beaches over there. And that looks great because that was a gas station there forever.
Yep.
I mean, closed down. I'm going back way back when ABC was over there. I don't know if you remember ABC Liquor Lounge. It burnt down.
Yes.
That's vacant land.
I do remember that.
I mean, so I think with all these improvements, we're going to see big changes.
Absolutely. Did I miss anything, Commissioner, that you want to share with the residents of Daytona Beach before I get you off the air?
No, I don't think so. But thank you for having me. And
Well, I want to thank you.
Great.
I want to thank you because there's a lot of work that's involved with what you have to do. And that commitment and dedication means a lot to all of us who live here in Daytona Beach. And we don't always show it sometimes, but we appreciate all that you do to help the people here in our city.
well, thank you.
You've been watching this edition of Daytona Beach Television. My guest today has been Commissioner Stacy Cantu, Zone 4, and we are in her zone filming at the beautiful Pelican Bay Sports Club. I want to thank you for viewing. Don't miss us because I've got more commissioners that are still coming, and I want you to see each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Welcome to this edition of Meet Your Commissioner. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham, and we're delighted that you're tuned in today. My special guest is Commissioner Danette Henry. She's the commissioner for Zone Number 5 here in the city of Daytona Beach. Welcome to Meet Your Commissioner in Daytona Beach. How are you, Commissioner?
Thank you. I am wonderful today. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on the program. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about your zone, and there might be some new residents in your zone who don't know too much about Commissioner Henry. So start with telling us a little bit about yourself.
Commissioner Henry is a Zone 5, lifelong Zone 5 resident, born and raised right here in Daytona Beach, born and raised right here in this particular zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been here, I won't tell my age, but at least a half a century I've been here in Zone 5, working, supporting the community and going to school, attending the local public schools. I attended Westside Elementary, I attended Holly Hill Middle School, and then I attended Mainland High School where I matriculated from.
Mm-hmm. Now, with some of the recent changes in all of our zones due to redistricting, your zone has changed a little bit. Can you tell us now a little bit about the geographic area of Zone 5?
So, some positives and negatives. So we're going to lose some places that are very dear to me. I'm going to lose Madison Heights, which is a community that I truly have grown to love, and it's been a labor of love, revitalizing the community. So we're going to lose Madison Heights, but we are going to gain all the way out. If you go down LPGA and you turn right on Clyde Morris, we're going to go all the way down to the line, right till you hit Ormond Beach, so right across from the hospital right there. All of that we're going to gain. We're going to gain some areas out going towards Williamson. The core of the zone, which is your Derbyshire area, is going to stay the same. We're going to keep suburbia, and we're going to stop at Nova Road. And over by Jimmy Ann, we're going to maintain Jimmy Ann, and we're going to pick up some areas out by Tanger Outlet. So Tanger Outlet is now going to be a part of Zone 5.
Right. So it's a pretty big zone. And I think you're going to have something like, and I forget the exact number of residents, but it's somewhere around 12,000 or so that'll be in your zone now. So looking at your zone, what are some of the things in Zone 5 that still give you some concern?
Definitely growing pains. So we're having some growing pains. And then we're having some issues where Zone 5 is a homeowner's zone. So there's not a lot of area to put actual businesses here in Zone 5. With the growth, hopefully that will change. There will be some areas where we can have actual businesses in Zone 5. That's always been a challenge, not having actual businesses. I think we've had a couple stores here and there, some gas stations, but that's pretty much. But in the grand scheme of things, having actual businesses where people can come in and say, my business is in Zone 5, that's been some challenges for us. So definitely Zone 5 is one of the older zones. Now, when I grew up here in Zone 5, we were considered the Beverly Hills zone. So we were the suburbs. We were the GE homes, which were the homes that GE built for their people who worked at GE. And my mom worked at GE.
I was gonna say,
so that's how we got a GE home.
Right.
And so now we've had the issue where we have those homes, they're older homes now. So helping people to maintain those homes so that they still look nice and they still shine like new, although they are not new. We have some issues with a little uptick in crime. And so we're going to be working more forcefully with the police to deal with those issues.
Okay. And so let's flip from the concerns that you had about Zone 5 to some of the positives. What has made you most proud to have been representing Zone 5 so far?
Absolutely. Just could not be prouder of this zone, considering when you go from here watching this zone to a full-grown adult watching this zone. So in the core of the zone, almost every street was paved. Something that has not happened in decades. So extremely proud of that. Extremely proud of the growth in our schools. We have two elementary schools here, and they're growing tremendously. They're working hard. Their grades are improving. They've got great leadership, and being able to go in with the schools and partner with the schools because strong schools build strong communities. So before we didn't have as much of a relationship with our schools. It was kind of the schools are county, so that's based upon what the grade of the school is, how well the school performs. And so it is the number one deciding factor of whether a person or a family will come and move into that zone. So investing in schools, I bought book vending machines for both of the elementary schools. So the children are going to have more access to free books and they'll be able to have access to books in a creative way. So those are two things that we're very, very proud of within the zone, as well as making sure that we work with the police department to ensure that the elderly people are taken care of in the community. So this year we did ring cameras. So elderly, and actually we changed it and all people were able to come and get a free ring camera that helps the police, because the police can tap into the ring cameras to see where the crime is, possibly help solve crimes. People who maybe not so much be able to afford a ring camera were afforded a free ring camera. So the ring program was a wonderful thing that we brought to Zone 5 this particular year, as well as our youth sports. Zone 5 is the biggest place for sports.
And we probably should tell the watchers and viewers that we're sitting in the Yvonne Scarlett Golden Center, which is in your zone, and it's a beautiful setting. How has this center kind of impacted both the youth and the seniors? So the Senior Oasis group meets here as well.
Total game changer.
Yeah.
Total game changer, because we were able to have our senior citizens come every Thursday. They get a nice hot meal. They get to play their games and bingo. They get to interact with other people in the community, so they get to stay engaged, keep their mind healthy, keep their minds active. And then during the daytime, they can come back and they have special events for them during the daytime. And then we have our children who are able to utilize this center because we use it for our basketball program. So we're keeping them off the streets. We're keeping them heavily under the eye of people who want what's best for them, and they're able to be protected because they're here with our wonderful staff who does a wonderful job with ensuring the children have a nice, safe place to go and be active, be engaged, be challenged. We use it in the summertime where parents are working. The children can come in the summertime and they can have access to an affordable program for after school care and for care during the summertime while their parents work. So this community center has been, and Yvonne Scarlett was one of my mentors. So that this is here, it means the world to me, and it means the world to this community. And then it backs right up to our park. So it backs right up to the Derbyshire Park that we're working hard to improve, chipping away with projects there. And so it backs right up to that, and the two centers can actively interchange, and I really like that for the community.
And you're so right. It does make a great impact. And you're the commissioner for Zone 5, but you're also a commissioner that votes on things that impact the whole city. So let's focus on the core of the city, the heart of the city, if you will. What are your thoughts about what we can do to kind of improve that part of Daytona Beach?
We just have to continue to be visionaries. And I think this commission has been